Ginger, what's on your mind today?
Well, I guess I needed to come in because just the level of stress that I'm experiencing in terms of raising my kids and juggling work and all of the obligations that I have there. And I feel like I have sort of two sets of kids at work too. You know, I have, the second years and the first years, and they're at different developmental stages as counselors. And I guess I'm just struggling in my role as a mother and leader of the program and that sort of thing.
It sounds like you're really overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm overwhelmed exactly, but I do feel like I'm just treading water. Like I'm just keeping my head above water and just doing enough to kind of, get done what needs to get done. But I'm not sure I feel like I'm doing well in any particular area. And that concerns me both at work, but also more importantly, I think at home.
What's that like for you to be juggling everything around?
It doesn't feel good. I'm used to being good at what I do, and I'm used to being very focused and sort of, before I had these kids, I was here till 7, 8, didn't matter. I got done what needed to get done, and now I'm on this schedule that prevents me from getting things done at work, but then I'm not home with my kids enough either, and so I feel like I'm kind of losing out on the time with them and cheating them to some degree. That's what it feels like.
It sounds like you're having trouble with balancing your work life with your home life and feeling good about those things. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit? Maybe give an example of how that has influenced you?
Again, I guess I just feel like I'm not doing anything well.
It's 2 minutes.
I'm concerned that I'm not being sort of good enough mother, and I'm not doing well enough at work. I mean, I guess I feel like work's okay. Work's going well, and I feel like the students are satisfied, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm doing all that I could do. But I'm not willing to give up my time with my kids and my family and so forth to do all that I could do. So now it's just this new hitch in my life that I'm not used to.
Let me go back to something that you stated earlier. You said that you feel at this moment you're treading water.
Yeah.
And that you're used to always doing things well.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how those two things are clashing maybe right now?
Yeah, I feel like, what's a metaphor that I can use? I've just got this fully loaded plate, right, that I'm carrying to my table, and it takes, maybe it's a big plate, and it takes 2 hands to carry it to the table, but I've got good balance, so I can carry this plate without anything falling off of it. And now someone has handed me an equally huge plate, maybe even a bigger plate, like this is a platter over here, and I feel completely out of my element with this platter because it's got like peas and round stuff on it that roll around, right, when I walk, and so I'm trying to keep this one balanced while they keep moving around, and this one's got the potatoes and gravy, and I can handle that, but them both together, I feel like I'm in constant sort of state of trying to balance and trying to keep everything okay without shattering either one.
But do you feel that you maintain probably the balance? Like maybe the weight of one is different than that of other?
Yeah, this one's heavier. My kids are heavier, and I think they're heavier because they're my kids, and I feel much greater attachment to them. I feel responsible for their well-being. I'm shaping them into people, whereas here I'm shaping professionals who are already people, and they're adults, and I leave a lot to them in terms of this process, and I'm more of a guide there. And here I feel a much heavier weight, and I feel 99% less competent here than I feel here. Here I know what I'm doing pretty much. Here I have no idea what I'm doing, even though I know all the behavioral stuff. I know what I'm theoretically supposed to do. They're winning. It's not working,
So, Ginger, what I hear you saying is that you feel like you your family is very important to you,
Yes.
but you feel like you might not be confident enough to be able to balance both of the plates, as you say.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
Yes.
And in fact, if I had this plate alone, I still wouldn't. I mean, I'd be screwing it up, I feel like.
Do you feel like you're screwing up because you like to do things, like you said earlier, as like to the best of your ability, as best as you can?
Yeah, but this is a little bit different. It's not like I'm not trying hard enough. I think I'm trying hard enough, but I'm fearful that I'm not good at it. You know, like I do things that I'm talented at. You know, I choose to do the things that I know I'm going to be all right in, and this thing, I'm all right. I'm an okay mom, but there are times where I feel like they so have the upper hand on me, and I think that's what's happening.
Okay, so what I kind of hear you saying is that, actually, let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
I feel like you're trying as hard as you can to be a good mother, and you're being very confident in it, and I think that's good. You realize that you might not be the best mom in the world, or you might not be living up to all your standards, but you are trying your best,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that's very admirable.
Thanks.
So.
So I've heard your concerns about your problems at home, and you've talked about how you feel your children are getting the upper hand and you're not doing a really good job. Could you tell me how that manifests itself in your home?
Yeah. You know, people used to say, oh, twins, that must be so hard. And my husband and I, well, he wouldn't say it as often as I did, but I felt like it's not really that bad. It's more like 1.5 kids. You know, you feed one, you feed the other, you change one, you change the other. And then they moved into the toddler stage, and all hell has broken loose. And it's not horrible. It's not, you know, like there's chaos in my house, but I definitely feel much less in control since they have moved into this toddler phase where they're pushing limits. They're, you know, they clearly understand what their limits are, but they challenge, you know, they're defiant at times. They outrun me. They want to both be held at the same time. They whine, they cry, you know, and it just sucks every bit of life out of me at this point.
And how are you and your husband working together?
I think we work really well together, generally. There's always a sense of who's doing more, and that creates guilt in me too, because there are 3 nights a week definitely that he's home alone with them, you know, on his own for 4 hours, and from like 3 till I get home at 7:30, so 4.5 hours, and that creates guilt for me. But then as soon as I'm home, it's like I'm on. You know, I'm the primary caregiver. So the rest of those 4 days out of the week, it's almost like I get punished for that, you know, 16 or I guess it's, yeah, something like, yeah, about 16, maybe 14 hours that he's got alone with them.
So it sounds like in addition to all the stress of raising new toddlers, that you also have competitive feelings of guilt.
Yeah.
With your husband, that's a lot to
Yeah.
experience.
Feelings of guilt and sometimes resentment, because sometimes I feel like I do more.
Just 2 minutes.
So, I can hear that you are experiencing that your toddlers are giving you a lot of difficulties. Can you give me a specific example of a time when you just felt totally like you were struggling and like you really couldn't, you didn't know what to do?
Yeah, one example is they'll be eating, okay, and they kind of work off of each other, and so one of them will think it's really funny to scream really loud, like not like cry, but scream, you know, like as loud as they can. It just pierces your ear, you know, and I'll sit there and be like, okay, Charlie, we don't scream like that in the house. Don't do it again. And he'll do it again, and then, you know, I don't do it again. He does it again, and then he gets a timeout. We turn him around, and then, you know, I'll get him just to where he'll stop doing it, and then she'll start. Because she's watching all of this in her high chair and sees that he's kind of calming down, and then she'll start. And I just feel like, God, this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. I'm fighting a losing battle here. You know, I should just give them the keys to the car and let them go at this point. And it's, and I feel like I feel really helpless in that way. Like, I know behaviorism. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but it doesn't seem to work.
Tape change.